Hi everybody, I'm Rhiannon, owner of the Epsom Bakehouse, and good morning to you. Today we're going to talk about the 4 simple ingredients that you need to start baking great bread at home. So thanks very much for joining me today, and if you would like some more bread making tips, recipes, you can sign up for my mailing list in the link in the comments, so that's below this video, so do go and check that out when the video is finished. And so today, you might have caught some of my other live videos, and if you want to start baking delicious, great bread at home, I'm here to give some tips and tricks to make sure that you know you can do that without needing kind of lots of fancy equipment and indeed lots of different ingredients. In fact, you might just be able to see on the sign over my shoulder that says flour, water, salt and yeast. And that's what I'd like to talk about today. We're talking about these simple ingredients. And when you're baking delicious bread, sometimes in fact recipes you don't even need all of these ingredients. But there are just 4 simple ingredients I'd like to talk to you today. And often you can get perhaps overwhelmed and thinking you've got to source things, you need to find really specific ingredients. And I always encourage anyone coming on one of my online classes that it's really relaxed and you should just be looking to find ingredients that you can find locally and that are easy to find in perhaps your local shop, your local supermarket. And definitely start by using those ingredients and getting used to using them and how they work for you in your kitchen. And there's no point perhaps going out and buying lots of different flours if you're not quite sure how they're going to work, whether in fact you even like the taste of them, because yes, some flours can even taste different or different ingredients. So we're talking a lot about flour, so that is the first ingredient I'll talk about, and I've got here some strong white bread flour. So what I mean by that is it's a wheat flour. It's white, and so it's got none of the wholemeal, none of the bran from the original grain. So if you think of a grain of wheat, then it has a hard outside that produces the bran, and inside it has this starchy inside that produces the white wheat flour. So the majority of the recipes that you'll cover in an online class with me uses the strong white bread flour, and that's a bread flour that has, if you look at the nutritional information, it has usually more than about 11 or 12 grams of protein per 100 grams. So not all flours will call it strong bread flour, strong white bread flour. So you can do that check. Check on the ingredients list. Is it white wheat bread flour? Does it have this protein content above about 11 or 12 grams of protein per 100 grams? You can look at that in the nutritional information on the side of the flour. So strong bread flour is a really key ingredient there. Do check out what's on offer in your local shop and what you can get hold of. Check also that it is white bread flour, if that is what the recipe calls for. It's not a direct substitution to use wholemeal or whole grain flour. That will act differently in your bread. Make some fantastic bread, but you will need to adjust the recipe, so just bear that in mind. There are other flours that you can use to bake bread with, for example, rye flour. Again, that acts really differently in your bread. So starting off, baking bread at home using strong white bread flour, that's what I use in a lot of the recipes I do. Then moving on, got some salt here. And salt, really key ingredient for adding flavour into your bread and also to help kind of strengthen the structure of your bread. So salt, another key ingredient, possibly something you've already got in your kitchen, really key in your bread. You can reduce the amount of salt you put into your bread, and obviously I'm available if you've got questions about that, but it is something that's usually put into many different types of bread. And then also I've got the yeast here, so some dried yeast here, and this is active easy bake yeast. So it's very, very, very fine powder-like particles of yeast, and that can be added straight into your dough. It's also great for storage because it's dried. You can keep the yeast in the cupboard once opened or in the fridge, and it will stay in storage for quite a while. So that's easy bake yeast. You can also get dried yeast, which is bigger particles. You can pick up the individual particles with your finger and thumb. And that has to be added into the water for your recipe before you put it into your dough. So it acts slightly differently. This very fine, easy bake might be called kind of active yeast, so it has different names, but do check on the side of the packet of your dried yeast. Does it need to be put back into the water for your recipe before you add it in, or can you just put it straight into the dough? You can also get fresh yeast, which needs to be stored in the fridge, and it can only be stored in the fridge in a sealed container for about a week or two before it stops being active and you can't use it in your bread. So it is a really great option. It's not always as widely available in some places, and you might find that you buy some and then you don't use it all up because it has that shorter shelf life. So those are the kind of three key dried ingredients, covered ingredients that you can get and have that have a relatively long shelf life, and you can bake lots of delicious bread with them. So your strong white bread flour, your salt and your yeast. And then also, of course, to make up your dough, you usually have a liquid, and in most of the recipes that we do in classes, you'll need water. And just tap water, cool tap water, unless you live somewhere that's got very heavily chlorinated water, in which case you can leave the jug of water out overnight and the chlorine will evaporate off. Otherwise you might want to use bottled spring water, but generally tap water is absolutely fine to put into your bread. So just some cool water, and hopefully have plenty of that available to put into your bread. So that was 4 key ingredients, simple ingredients that you can bake bread with. There are lots of other things that you can add into your bread, but when you're starting from home, you don't need lots of fancy ingredients and to go out and buy lots of different flours. You can make many, many different types of bread using just these 4 ingredients in different kind of combinations. So do give it a try. If you've got any questions about the ingredients you're using at home and whether you can bake some delicious bread with them, then do leave me a comment below. Or if you'd like to sign up for my mailing list and get more bread making tips and recipes, including my top 5 bread making tips, straight to your inbox, then you can follow the link below in the comments, and do sign up. And do come back, I'll be doing more of these lives each week. It'll be lovely to chat to you. It'll all be about bread making tips, so if you've got a specific question that you would like answered, then do let me know in the comments and it'll be great to chat with you. Otherwise, I'll say bye for now, and I hope to see you again soon on one of these live videos.